This is part two of me looking at Evander Holyfield versus Riddick Bowe for the first time and just giving my opinion, my analysis with my eye test. Let's get straight into it. And I think this moment, I'm looking at just moments that stand out to me, moments that I'm interested in. When Evander gets hit with the jab, head knocked back, and at this point you could argue that it's reflexes. I would argue it's kind of like anticipation and instinct, because when he gets hit with the jab, he's kind of like blinded for a second, and the first thing he sees is that right hand coming. And I don't think reflexes can move that fast, but maybe it is reflexes. I think it's just great instinct to know that he got hit with a jab and then to get underneath the cross. This is a great inside sequence, and this is all while they're moving. Bowe is moving backwards, Holyfield is moving forwards. Bowe is looking for a body uppercut. It steers a little bit low, but it misses, so it's fine. But notice what happens when he misses the body uppercut. Right arm clashes with Holyfield's left arm, and then he pulls it up, gets an underhook, pulls that arm out so he has control on the inside. And then for some reason, Holyfield, I think he's looking at the cameraman or something. It don't look like he's paying attention until he get grazed with that left uppercut from Bowe. And then he kind of turns up and you see him, he turns his body over to land this big right hand over top. And so Bowe disengages the underhook, and then he kind of starts to put up a little bit of a left forearm frame, which kind of lines up and aligns the fore, but Holyfield is kind of crashing in, and so the range of Bowe is thrown off. And so since Holyfield is kind of inside of the fore, again, that missed punch, like how the uppercut missed earlier, that missed punch turns into a form of control, where Bowe kind of has a little bit of a collar tie on Evander Holyfield, which in this case helps with defense because he can feel Holyfield loading up on his punch, which means he can react. He gets underneath. This is all while they're moving backwards, while Bowe's moving backwards. He gets underneath the shot. He stops, plants, and rips a counter to the body. That sequence is insane. All while moving, and then, oh wait, there's more. Holyfield with the forearm frame puts it in Bowe's neck a little bit to position the fore, and Bowe just barely gets underneath it again. And notice after Bowe, he turns his head movement into counters. So he's not just being defensive, he's making sure to answer back. And that's what makes these fights so great, is that they're both answering back constantly. And then he gets underneath, lands a four on the side of Evander, and Holyfield looking like he wants to counter, but he has to reposition, and now it's no longer an inside fight. But he does get underneath the left hook of Bowe, and he catches it, and he comes up with his own counter. These sequences are just next level. Look at the catch and counters. Just wow. Oh, right. Yeah, this fight is crazy. But you see what I'm saying though? When Bowe had the underhook, Evander Holyfield was looking at the ref. What is he looking at him for? I think, you know what? I think he was thinking about the low blow that missed. Okay, so Holyfield's gonna throw a left. It gets mostly caught on the guard. Yeah, it gets caught on the guard. But then he kind of waits. He's letting Riddick Bowe kind of react to what Riddick Bowe is expecting. A bunch of stuff to come after, so Riddick Bowe is just moving, expecting stuff. And so Holyfield just waits, he looks, he pauses, he loads up the weight on his left, and he waits for him to come back up, times him with a great left hook. It doesn't land super clean, but it does land. And that's just great stuff from Evander. But then as soon as he gets caught, Riddick gets caught, he kind of responds, boom, and he tries to respond with his own left hook. And then again, the responses back and forth is what makes this fight so entertaining. Once Riddick Bowe lands his left hook, well, not lands, it lands on the guard of Evander Holyfield. Catch and counter, which is Evander Holyfield is a master at the catch and counter. Catches in on the right, counters with the left, and then Riddick is answering right back. The answers back and forth is just crazy. Whenever I talk about traps, sometimes I cut these parts out just for the sake of time in the video. But like I did that previously in the AJ versus Ngannou breakdown. But I look at body language, and I look at the way they're responding to punches and the types of things they're doing before they counter, and that lets me know that they were looking to set up that counter. Here's an example here. Bowe is jabbing, right? And Holyfield is just kind of letting him jab, and he's staying at the edge of range. And he's just kind of like calculating, and we're gonna see him slowly calculate and respond to the jab. Like right here, he's kind of playing with the range. He kind of steps in just a little bit of a slight feint, and he gets grazed by the jab. And so this is all building up. This is all just knowledge that's accumulating. And so right here, he just barely feints out that left glove. He gets a response jab from Riddick Bowe, and he pulls back away from it because he's kind of expecting it. So the expectations are starting to build, basically. And so he's gonna slightly invade that space. He's gonna slightly step in, and when he does, not Holyfield, Bowe is gonna throw out that jab. That's what he expected. So the expectations were building the whole time. He was playing, he was feinting, not just with his hands, but with his feet, getting an idea of how Bowe's jab would respond. Once he gets the expected response, the trap is set, and it is a counter cross over top, just an inside slip, overhand. But then again, answer back. That's what makes this fight so good. Bowe answers back with an uppercut. I'm not sure how clean it is. It looked like it landed pretty clean, but let me see. Yeah, it landed clean. Now, probably the reason why Bowe went to the uppercut after Evander threw his shot is because looking at Evander's habits in the fight, the reason why he's so successful in these exchanges is because he has a lot of preemptive head movement, meaning it's not reflexive head movement. A lot of times it's anticipatory head movement, like he's anticipating stuff to come in, so he's automatically moving after throwing shots. After he throws his cross, he's automatically ducking down, and Bowe is already getting an idea for that based off the exchanges he's been in for the past 9 minutes or so. And so when Bowe sees Evander ducking and level changing constantly, that's one of his primary forms of head movement, is getting underneath shots. So he knows after he throws this shot, he's going to kind of duck down. And so Bowe is there for that with the uppercuts. That's where the uppercut comes from. It's an adjustment. And this is kind of some simple stuff on the inside, but it's one of the more advanced pieces of inside work so far in the fight, because normally they kind of just like lean on each other and trade body punches and some punches up top. In this case, Evander Holyfield kind of crashes in with his left hand, or right hand on the guard, and then what he's going to do is that right hand was holding the guard in position, but he wants to switch over, so he uses his shoulder to now hold the guard in position and kind of keep it there, a little bit of a shoulder frame, keep it in position so that he can have that opening up the middle for the uppercut. So he uses his shoulder as a frame to load up for the uppercut. And then afterwards, I think Riddick Bowe is starting to find some more answers to Evander Holyfield's cross guard. You see him just kind of like walk in, relaxed, 1-2, and the 2 lands clean. And I'm gonna break down why I think it's landing the way it is, with a better angle. So he steps in here, step in, jab. Now Holyfield's having success slipping, parrying, catching a jab. That's what he does here. He parries the jab, and he kind of goes into the cross guard a little bit. But Bowe knows that if he gets that jab out of the way, that right hand isn't in position to catch the right hand of Bowe, because Evander Holyfield's right hand in the cross guard kind of goes over to the left side of his chin, where he would normally block crosses and right hooks and stuff like that from Bowe. But the jab gets that out of position, and so now when he steps in, he's at a better angle, and he can come and hit that new hole in the guard that the jab just opened up. Now tell me if this looks familiar. This is one of the most classic counters to the jab, an outside slip where you can load up the weight and then come over top with a cross or overhand or whatever, and it's very effective. And then Bowe answering back again. And this is what makes great fights. It's not just the back and forth necessarily or exclusively in the physical aspect of them punching each other back and forth. It's also the mental aspect, the skills, the adjustment. So Evander Holyfield keeps avoiding that jab more and more effectively as the rounds continue. And so Riddick Bowe is trying to time and anticipate that head movement to line him up with shovel hooks and uppercuts. So once Riddick Bowe throws out that jab, it's kind of it looks like a little bit of a throwaway jab. It doesn't look like it was legitimately trying to land. I think Riddick Bowe was trying to set him up for that kind of shovel hook or that low hook, tiny bit of an uppercut on it. And Evander Holyfield is really good in exchanges, which is why I call him a gritty tactical brawler. Now, this is just the understanding of position is one of Holyfield's key tenets to what makes him so great. When he's in this exchange, he's a smaller man. He shouldn't be winning stuff like this, but maybe because his arms are shorter, he can get tighter on the hooks. But he just barely gets out of the way of Bowe's left hook while landing his own, and it's a very accurate shot. And Holyfield in the exchanges is so good, which is why I call him a gritty technical brawler. Not just because of his heart and the grit, but because his understanding of positioning. He can hit you and you can't hit him. The technicality of it, technical. And we'll see that even more. Like if we look at, he sees that uppercut coming again. And he's already turning away. Look at his head. He's already turning away. He's kind of leaning with his shoulder. And I'm pretty sure that uppercut mostly misses. It may graze him a little bit, but it's the understanding, the anticipation, the positioning, it's so much of a IQ battle in those exchanges, but a lot of times that gets overlooked because the wow factor of people trading punches. But another great example of a gritty technical brawler that's good at this type of stuff is Dustin Poirier. And we just saw Dustin Poirier in UFC like a week ago when he got into an exchange, and like how he normally does, people try and trade punches with him. He values defense. That's what makes someone a gritty technical brawler. The ability not just to land punches, but to avoid them in these brawls. And so Evander gets out of the way of the uppercut. He's looking to counter over top. But again, he's facing Bowe, who's also a beast. So the last thing I'll say for this part of the analysis is talking about the gritty technical brawler archetype. It's not just about going to war. It's about understanding the art of war. And I'll probably drop another analysis of some other stuff pretty soon. Be on the lookout for that. That is all, Fight Scientist Immortality Serum out.